This promises to be a momentous occasion. You are about to meet the newest member of your team. As you are aware, the Green Ranger's power was completely decimated by his last few battles. Alpha and I felt it was time to create an even more powerful Ranger to combat Lord Zed and his diabolical evil. To that end, a candidate was selected and a new Power Ranger was created. And now, my friends, I present to you...
Hey guys, thank you so very much for tuning in today. Again, if you are new to my channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button right now so you don't miss any of my videos that I have coming out weekly. So make sure you subscribe and join the crew. Now, I have a new comic book review for you guys today. Today, we're reviewing Saban's Go-Go Power Rangers, issue number 29. And as usual, you guys know I review my comic books in 3 different criteria: the good, the bad, and the morphin. Hoo-ah! So starting off with the good. This book starts us off into some like really cool, amazing fight scenes. The artwork is awesome. The feeling is just really cool. And again, like I always talk about the artists, but they do a fantastic job of really making these characters kind of just burst out of the comic book. You know, so the colors, the artwork, the way it all works together, man, they do a fantastic job. So I really do love, you know, the artwork. And in this particular fight scene, you know, particularly in the beginning, the Rangers, they're fighting this monster called the Kettle Pop Monster. Yes, the Kettle Pop Monster, which is just, you know, it's so a Power Ranger villain, you know, classic type of name. But I like that, you know, I like that they keep that cheesiness, you know, that makes it, you know, realistic for this universe. You know, so that's something that I appreciated and found that was good. But in this particular scene, you know, the Rangers are kind of getting overwhelmed, you know, because they're fighting like all of these putties, a handful of putties, plus, you know, the Kettle Pop Monster. And, you know, typically a monster like this, they would probably defeat really easily, but you got a lot of different dynamics going on. Right now, Jason, he's not the leader anymore. Tommy is now the leader as the White Ranger, you know, so he's stronger, he's faster, you know, he's got this new power. But with all of that, you know, just having the title of being a leader is different than having the ability, the capability, and the know-how of leading a team, you know, with his friends. You know, so I think that's kind of the dynamic that's going on right now. And a cool thing that they're playing on is like, you know, being a leader is not just a title, but it definitely is, you know, it takes experience. It takes, you know, the heart behind that. And I think, you know, we definitely see that Tommy is growing into that in this particular, you know, part of his life. So I find that really interesting, you know, and like you get some fun fight scenes. First of all, you know, early on in the scene, like the White Ranger just taking on all those putties by himself. That was awesome. But at the same time, you know, he's kind of looking, you know, at one angle like, oh, wait a minute, I am the leader. You know, why is, you know, Jason making, you know, executive decisions? You know, but, you know, if he didn't, that could have cost the team, you know, their lives. So it's a lot of learning as you grow. And I think that was a cool dynamic, like right in the beginning of this comic. So yeah, the fight scenes were awesome. Again, you got the Kettle Pop Monster, you know, who is just, again, it's such a perfect, you know, title type of character, you know, for the Power Rangers universe. And then you also get the scene, you know, with Jason, Tommy, and Zordon, where, you know, after this fight is done, they're back at the command center. Tommy's like, you know, I don't know what happened. You know, things kind of got out of control. Man, if I would have made one more, you know, terrible decision, that could have cost somebody their life. You know, we were kind of in over our heads. And, you know, it's just, I really like this moment between those three because it kind of touched on like an awkward moment that a lot of us have always kind of picked out, like where Jason was so abruptly removed from being the leader and Tommy was now made the leader without any explanation. And Zordon talks about it and Jason kind of, you know, talks about it within this moment. And, you know, they're like, you know, with the times that we're in right now, with the stress of Lord Zed and these monsters invading Earth and Angel Grove almost every day, we need the white light power, which is stronger and faster. And Tommy was the only one who was able to wield it, you know, and Jason understands that. And Zordon, you know, being the mentor and being the protector that he is, you know, you have to make those, you know, executive decisions. But it was cool to see that moment where at least somebody talked about it and it wasn't just, you know, so awkward. Because, you know, for me watching the show back in the day, I was like, man, what happened? Did Zordon ever like converse with the rest of the team? Did he ever talk to Jason about, this decision? But I really appreciated that they made time to have a moment, where we could see that. I just thought that was another cool and good, dynamic within this comic. And then you also see, like off to the side, in a different portion of the command center, the rest of the team, they're kind of conversing with each other about like, is Tommy capable of really being the leader? Like, the kettle pop monster, someone like that, we could have beat pretty quickly on, a normal day if like Jason was the leader. So what's going on? But at the same time, they also realize like, I like how Trini is speaking up and she's like, hey, this is our friend. He's learning, how to be the leader and, how to make leadership decisions, so they have to do their best to support him and be patient and work together as a team. So, there's a lot going on with this team, a lot of new changes. But I just thought it was really refreshing, to see those things going on where you got a little conflict, you got a lot of changes. But it just makes for an interesting story. And that's something that, I, found to be also good within this comic. And then in the end, the comic ends, showing Kia, in her early moments and kind of where Jason, Zach, and Trini, they meet her, off world on a different planet. And touching back on that with them, again, this is all stepping stones to how they all became, the Omega Rangers, Jason, Zach, and Trini, and, now Kia as well. And it's cool, they're in space. You got to see the first moment where they met Z, who's like their alpha, so to speak, for the Omega team. So a lot of dynamics are, like I said, this comic book is all about changes and those early moments, of, again, how this particular team became the Omega Rangers. So a lot of different changes are happening, with these friends and this team. And Kia, she's just very interesting. I really, have grown to like her character. And I think she's very interesting. I think ultimately there's something will happen either where she becomes the thing she's fighting against, which is a Ranger or a Draken, or, she'll have some recollection that, maybe I got this wrong. Maybe the Power Rangers aren't so bad. Maybe, there is such thing as, a different dimension, and, this Tommy guy, maybe he really is good, and I don't have to hate the Power Rangers, for what happened to my home world and, my personal life. So I don't know. I'm interested to see what happens with her down the road. So that's my good portion. Getting into the bad of this comic. I really don't have anything bad to say about this comic. I really actually enjoyed it. If I could think of anything, I have more of a question towards the title and the conclusion. Because you have to remember, too, Saban's Go-Go Power Rangers is actually coming to an end pretty soon. So we'll just have Mighty Morphin Power Rangers as the continuing, comic run. So Saban's Go-Go Power Rangers, it is coming to an end very soon, which is a bittersweet thing. And I know if, some of the readers like myself, there has been those little tiny moments where it can get a little, confusing because you're bouncing back and forth between early moments in time and current time, so to speak. But, I'm interested to see, again, I've talked about this before in other reviews. What does the title mean? Necessary Evil. You have to think about that. And then you have to think about where we came from. Shattered Grid, that whole event was crazy. So think of it, necessary evil. Something had to happen for us to have some type of positive result that, will ultimately will be revealed, in the future. So I'm curious to see how this book concludes, this story arc. I'm, curious to see how it all wraps up. And what necessary evil actually means. So let me know what you guys think of that in the comments below. And getting into my last criteria of this comic would be the Morphin. Lord Zed has Finster to create this monster, the Hodgepodge Hedgehog, who is evidently strong and can hold his own against Lord Zed. So that I thought that was interesting to see, a monster that is strong enough, to kind of, fight against Lord Zed, so to speak. I thought that was really interesting. But the point of this monster, Lord Zed, wants to infiltrate and break into Grace Sterling's Promethea. And he's kind of got this map of, her ship and Promethea, and he wants to get inside. And there's one particular area, one particular, section that's blocked off, and he doesn't know what's inside of there. Now, my brain, thinking about some Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, I remember Grace Sterling, she actually had Lord Draken captive in Promethea. So my brain automatically is thinking like, well, could that possibly be a thing that they're playing off of? Is this how Lord Draken comes back into these comics? Or, what else is she hiding? What else do we not know about? So that's something, a little Easter egg that I caught, within this comic. I'm interested to see, what would be revealed with that down the road. And another thing, like I said, there's a lot of early moments, a lot of early, steps to things that, are kind of revealed in this comics. And I'm curious to see exactly how do, Zach, Trini, and Jason and Kia get their powers of becoming the Omega Rangers. How is that all set up? How do they attain it, so to speak? So curious to see how that happens. So a lot of the, a lot of this comic and the conclusion, when I think about, Necessary Evil, I just have a lot of questions. Again, one thing I think, how this will all end, I think subtlety will be the heavy hitter with this, particular story arc. I don't think it's going to be another Shadow Grid where you're having this crazy war and Power Rangers versus Power Rangers and all this other crazy stuff. I think the small things are going to be the big things, and I think subtlety will be kind of the heavy hitter for how this particular story arc will conclude. I don't know exactly what that means. You can interpret that however you want. But I don't see, us having another Shadow Grid type of event, because you can't redo that. That was a phenomenal thing. That was an experience of its own. I think, again, something big will happen, but I think it will be subtle. And that's kind of, what I've gotten after reading these comics. It hasn't felt like this crazy buildup like Shadow Grid did. You know what I mean? So I think it will be subtle, but it will be impactful, leading into whatever the next phase will be for the Power Ranger comics. So let me know what you guys think. I'd love to hear you guys' theories about these comics and more. Now, and my last thing for today will be my rating. Guys, I rarely ever do this, but I am giving this book a 5 out of 5. 5 out of 5 lightning bolts. And that's coming from me. That is coming from the truth. I enjoyed this book. It did what it was supposed to. It was enjoyable. It was fun. It gave, rose a lot of questions within me as a fan and as a reader. So yeah, I give it a solid 5 out of 5. And I look forward to seeing how, like I said it before, and I'm saying it again, I'm curious how this all wraps up and how it concludes. I'm a little sad to see Saban's Go-Go Power Rangers coming to an end, but whatever happens, it's going to be very interesting tying into, this next phase. So let me know what you guys will think about that. If you enjoyed this video and if you are new to my channel, again, please be sure to subscribe, hit that like button, and share this video out. And I will see you guys here for the next comic book review or whatever crazy video I'm doing here on my channel. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you guys for the next video. Peace.